What's going on, guys? My name's Theatrix and welcome to my complete Nightmare Zone guide. This video covers the basics through to all of the tactics you'll need to know to play it effectively. I'll show you how to get the maximum points, how to get the fastest XP, and how to AFK the longest. The minigame itself is located just outside of your nil's east entrance. To be able to partake in the minigame, you need to have completed at least 5 of the quests that are currently listed on the screen. Once you've done any 5, you unlock the minigame teleport to the Nightmare Zone, which is the fastest way there. The minigame takes you into dreams, where you're faced against quest bosses that you've already killed in the real game. It's a completely safe minigame, you won't lose any items, however it does cost money to start a dream. There's 3 types of game modes. You can play Practice, which is free and you don't get XP or points. There's Endurance, which ends once you kill all of the bosses that you've unlocked, and the final mode is Rumble, which puts you up against random bosses you've unlocked, or you can even customize which bosses you want to fight. This one's endless and will only end once you die. All of these 3 game modes have 2 difficulties, easy and hard. Easy gives the standard amount of points, and the bosses are the same level as they were in the quest. Hard mode gives a lot more points per kill, and the bosses are far higher level with a lot more hit points. You need to store money in the coffin nearby in order to enter a dream. I recommend putting at least 100k in there. The most expensive dream is a customizable hard rumble, which is the only game mode I really recommend playing. You should only ever choose easy rumble if you want to see what the Nightmare Zone is like at a lower level. The points and XP are so much lower and not really worth your time. In order to effectively play the Nightmare Zone, I recommend having at least 70 combat, so that's around 70 attack, strength, and defense. However, you can get away with slightly lower stats, but you'll be a bit less efficient. Your first goal when starting off the Nightmare Zone is to gather enough reward points to afford some absorption and overload potions. You can buy these from the reward chest. To start off, you'll need to use prayer and combat potions. You need to set a customized hard rumble by right-clicking and starting a dream, and you need to select only the melee bosses available. There's quite a long list of melee bosses in the Nightmare Zone, so choose as many as you can that you have unlocked. Within the Nightmare Zone, the points scale to how many bosses you have activated. So if you've done every quest in the game and have every quest boss activated, you'll get the maximum amount of points each kill. You'll notice that as you're playing, power-ups will spawn throughout the game. There are 4 different power-ups, and these only spawn in Rumble. There is the White Ultimate Force, which should only ever be used if there's a boss you simply can't kill. This gives no XP or points when killing the bosses, so you should try to avoid it in most cases. Zapper, which is purple, damages nearby monsters every few seconds, and kills with Zapper do count towards points. There's Recurrent Damage, which is red, and this stacks your damage but doesn't give more XP. And then there's Power Surge, which is extremely useful for fast XP because it generates your special attack constantly for 45 seconds. Depending on your combat level, it should take you around 30 minutes to 1 hour to get enough points for absorption potions. You should aim to get at least around 70,000 points using prayer potions, and be sure to make good use of Zapper, Recurrent Damage, and Power Surge. So now that you've got points for absorption and overloads, you can now aim for the maximum points per hour. Absorption potions absorb damage that you take with every sip of the potion, giving 50 points of absorption. By using a Dwarven Rock Cake or a Locator Orb, you can lower your hit points down to 1, so that the monsters attacking you can only ever hit a 1 on your absorption, making the damage last very, very long. As I mentioned, you get the most points for having the most bosses active as possible. However, there are a few bosses you need to watch out for. Even when you're trying to get the maximum points, you should deactivate the Corrupt Lizardman, which hits through absorption. They're all worth turning off for different reasons, but there are more bosses that you should keep on, like the Recipe for Disaster bosses or Desert Treasure bosses, which still do have undesirable attacks, but they give so many points per kill that they're worth keeping on. In terms of gear for the maximum points, I recommend taking full Darok, or alternatively your best damage per second gear. You can use ranged like a blowpipe, or even magic if you have the money. Your inventory should consist of your special attack weapon, a rock cake or locator orb, 4 overloads, 4 to 8 prayer potions, and the rest absorptions. Upon entering, you'll want to drink your overload potion and wait until it lowers you down. Proceed to rock cake and locator orb down to 1 hit point. Now you can drink a lot of absorption potions and you're set to go. To stay at 1 hit point, you should be double clicking the rapid heal prayer every 40 to 50 seconds. Once the monsters spawn, you can activate Piety or Rigor or whatever stat boosting prayers you have and target the monsters that give the most amount of points per kill. It's good to use Zapper and recurrent damage again to speed up your kills, as well as Power Surge with your special attack weapon. If you see bosses like the Gelatinoth Mother or Farid, you should try to use an ultimate force power-up to clear them out. By following everything I just said, you can get well over 1 million points per hour. Do keep in mind though that the number of bosses really affects how many points you get, so if you can, take a look at the list of Nightmare Zone quests I showed before and try complete more bosses. Alright, so let's move into how to get the fastest possible XP rate at the Nightmare Zone. There's actually 4 bosses currently in the game that give more XP per damage point. Arg gives a 17.5% XP boost when you damage him, and the other 3 on this list work their way down to 7.5%. On top of these bosses, you should add any easy melee bosses like Count Draenor, the Khazad Warlord, Bouncer, but always try to have those 4 boosting bosses available. For the best XP rates, you'll be using prayer all of the time, as well as absorptions and overloads. I again recommend Darox or your best damage per second gear. Bandos or Obsidian works for a lower level with melee, or ranged through both chinning or using a blowpipe is very effective. Chinning, however, is a lot more expensive here than doing it at the Monkey Madness caves, but it's a lot more AFK and completely safe. If you do choose to range here, I recommend turning off the Ice Troll King, because although you do get more XP, you'll hit nothing with ranged. To get the maximum XP, you shouldn't get the Zapper, recurrent damage, or the ultimate force power-up. The most XP comes out of the Power Surge power-up mixed with a fast attacking special attack like the Dragon Claws. You can use a Dragon Dagger or a Granite Maul at a lower level, and then you can slowly aim for better weapons like the Crystal Halberd or Dragon Claws. With ranged, Dragon Knives are now extremely OP in the Nightmare Zone, as well as the Magic Shortbow special attack. Choosing the correct bosses and using Dragon Claws, you can get over 150,000 melee combat XP per hour. With ranged, you can reach similar XP rates with a blowpipe and chins. So that's how you get the fastest XP rates. Now for how to train AFK. There's in fact 4 ways to AFK train at the Nightmare Zone. You can 5-minute AFK with overloads and absorptions. You can AFK for up to 20 minutes if you use super combat potions and absorptions. You can AFK for around 10 minutes using prayer and prayer bonus gear, or you can AFK for 20 minutes using Guthans. So the 5-minute AFK method is with overloads and absorptions, requiring you to come back to the computer and re-drink your overload and go back down to 1 hit point. Since you're healed 50 hit points when the overload runs out, you'll get damaged a lot by the monsters around you since their max hit is no longer 1 or low. You can AFK far longer if you take super combat potions instead of overloads, because you won't get that 50 hit point boost after 5 minutes. Although over time you will gain your hit points back, you'll still be able to AFK around 10 minutes before you should lower your health again and re-super combat. With prayer, you should get your best prayer bonus gear, overload potions, and a full inventory of prayer potions. With a really good prayer bonus, you can last up to 10 minutes with a protection prayer on. However, the difference with this though is you can only select bosses with 1 combat style. Like I said in the starter section, you should try to focus only on bosses that use melee. And lastly, you can AFK for up to 20 minutes before stopping attacking with Guthans. You don't need any potions for this, since the whole idea is that your Guthans will out-heal the damage that you take. You should do this on Rumble easy. On Rumble hard, even with 99 defense, you'll get destroyed by most bosses. Honestly, if you're choosing to do Guthans, you're much better off going to Bandit Camp with a Saradomin or Zamorak item for much cheaper and much more AFK training. So that's how to play the Nightmare Zone. Now I want to give a quick rundown of the rewards. The most important reward that comes out of the Nightmare Zone is imbuables. You can imbue every Fremennik and Wilderness Ring, and that doubles the stats of them. You can imbue the Black Mask and Slayer Helmet as well, which adds a 15% damage and accuracy boost for magic and ranged as well. That's so important for Slayer. Lastly, you can imbue crystal items to keep their stats at maximum even as they're degrading. If you have an oversupply of points in the Nightmare Zone and you love it, you should consider spending the remainder of your points on herb boxes. By averaging the loot from each one, each box is worth 9.9k in herbs. Each day you can collect a maximum of 15 herb boxes, costing 9.5k points each. That means each day you can profit almost 150k coins just by buying and opening the 15 herb boxes. So there you have it, that's my complete Nightmare Zone guide. I hope you guys learned something interesting. If you're a fan of my channel and want to support me for free, you can now purchase your Old School RuneScape membership through my affiliate link. Each membership purchase you make supports me at no extra cost. So if you're interested, the links are in the description below. If you're new around here to my channel, be sure to subscribe for more old school videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.